It's fine. Hello and welcome back to the Real Horror Show podcast. We're doing fine over here.
Fine, just fine.
We came back with our first mini show of the year, pumped and excited, and then life just happened.
Oh God, it just hit us head on like a semi truck.
I finally got COVID.
You got it. Yeah, you did get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the reason we skipped 1 week, and then you had a family emergency last week.
Yep.
So
it just kept coming, and now I'm sick with a cold. I hope
there's no such thing as a cold. It's all COVID.
I know. I wonder what kind of COVID this one is. But it's COVID Kraken 2.0.
I will say, when I had my cold / laryngitis the week before Christmas, that I felt significantly worse than when I had COVID, but that might have been because I was still working when I had laryngitis and a cold. Yeah. With COVID, I got, like, obviously they don't want you coming into work. Some companies are assholes who make you come into work, but I don't think I could have.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And so you're at home, you're like be able to sleep all day, and then you can just take medicine when you wake up.
Monday. So my symptoms started Sunday morning. I woke up with a sore throat. I tested immediately. It was negative, and I'm like, okay, it's probably just weird pressure in the atmosphere or something, because this winter's been fucking crazy. 50 degrees one day, 20 degrees the next day. That's gonna fuck up your sinuses no matter what.
Definitely.
And so we went thrifting to see if we could find anything for the wedding, and we did. We found 2 silver platters for $1 each.
Amazing. That's so awesome.
That's like an amazing find just on a regular day.
It is. That's really awesome.
And we stopped off at Sheetz to get me a Powerade, because I thought maybe I'm just dehydrated and that's why my head feels spinny. And that's when the chills started.
Oh fuck.
And we get home and I'm so cold, and David denies this, but he thought I was just being dramatic when I was like, can I have both blankets, please? And so after like an hour of not being able to warm up, he looks over at me and is like, where's the thermometer? You look really pale. Yeah. Like, oh, it's in the bathroom.
David, where else is the thermometer?
Well, it does tend to move around whenever either of us is sick.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Sometimes it's where it's supposed to be. Sometimes it's in the living room. Sometimes it's in the dish drainer because we washed it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So it moves around. We're not organized people. I'm not the organized person.
No problem.
But
it was the bathroom this time, so that's excellent.
Yeah, because I think I did take my temperature right when we got home, and it was normal. But again, we had just gotten home, so it was probably just cold from being outside. Yeah. And my temperature was 101 degrees.
Jesus. Oh,
yeah. So I tested again, still negative.
Dude, it's those at-home tests. I swear.
Mm-hmm.
They're garbage.
So I made the decision. I'll sleep through the night, and if I still have a fever in the morning, that's when I'll call out of work. And so that's what happened. My fever was still 100 in the morning. Slept pretty much all day, Monday off and on.
Yeah.
Took my final test. I was like, okay, my fever hasn't broken at all. I'll take one more test. Mm-hmm. And that was the positive one.
It was positive. Yeah.
But I did work from home. I was able to get some work done that week, because each day I gradually felt better. And Thursday I thought I'd be able to record, because it was the false day of feeling better.
Yes, there's always that one day where you're like, oh, I feel good.
I'm going to do all these other things, and the next day you're back to Wednesday.
Yeah.
So that was my week with COVID. It was fun. I kind of miss working from home.
Oh yeah, when I had COVID and I worked from home a little bit, I was like, this is nice.
It's like the early days of the pandemic.
Right. Like I could work from home when I want to, but I just I don't if I don't need to. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, I'm glad that it passed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I agree, like right now, like, you know how you said that your laryngitis, it was like much worse because you're going to work, you felt crappy. Like this is much worse than COVID because I didn't cough one time during COVID. Like I didn't go to work, and it's like a lingering annoyance. And I know I'm annoying people when I cough. Like I'm by myself in my office, so I'm not like coughing on people, but like it's super loud. So I know that it's like disturbing people every few moments. So yeah.
I have had like a sort of lingering sore throat, but that's like been it.
Yeah. Right now?
Yeah. Well, I don't have it right now, but like
okay.
it persisted up until probably a couple days ago. Not like super sore, I can't swallow anything, but just mildly annoying sore.
So are you saying that's like the remnants of the COVID?
I feel like it is.
Okay.
Because some friends who have had it this past winter have said that their lingering effects have been a sore throat just kind of hanging on and a persistent cough like a week or two later.
Yeah, you know, the persistent one that I had from COVID, it was like a congested, stuffy nose that I could not blow my nose. And that lasted forever. And I'd rather have a sore throat because at least I'd be able to breathe through my mouth and my nose.
Yeah. You know? I want to be able to breathe. That's all I ask for.
I know. It's okay if I cough occasionally or like or take a cough drop. But breathing is good to sleep because then when you're sleeping, it's fine. But oh god, that was the worst.
The most pitiful I was.
Yeah.
That whole week was when I woke up Monday morning after the fever because I did not sleep well with the fever. You know how when you have one, you're cold, so you keep like kicking your legs to try and generate body warmth.
Yeah.
So I was having this dream that lasted all night that kept waking me up. I was digging a tunnel. I had to dig a tunnel, and then I wasn't working fast enough, so they jabbed me with a stick, and jabbing me with the stick woke me up.
Oh no. Oh, Sam. Do you think that was like you had like some like muscle pain or like stuff like that from the fever?
I might have.
Like
I think I was a little sore occasionally. But I woke up when David woke up, took my temperature, and I was just so pitiful. I said, "Could you just stay home today?"
Oh, did he stay?
No, but he came back home on his lunch break to bring me stuff.
Oh, that's good.
He brought me my Powerades and my goldfish crackers.
Yeah, that's good.
And we were out of soup, so that was the main thing I needed him to do for me, was
just all the basic stuff.
Yeah. So he came, he had to go into work, but he came home on his lunch to spend it with me, make sure I wasn't dying.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, when I had COVID, Luke was able to take off a couple days to stay home with me, only because I would wake up in the morning. I would wake up at like between 9 or 10 with him, and I would go downstairs, get tired from going down the stairs, go back upstairs and sleep for the rest of the day. It was insane. But he had to, that's why, because he had to come home and like he had to take care of the cats, and so he had to stay home with me because I was literally sleeping all day.
Yeah, that was
absurd.
Essentially what my Monday with COVID looked like is I got up with David, did everything I needed to let my boss know I have a fever. So far, COVID test is negative. All of that. I'm surprised it was coherent with how I felt that morning. David left, made sure I didn't need anything, and I just fell back over and well, actually I stripped out of my clothes because I was clammy all night.
Yeah, the sweaty. Yeah, absolutely.
So I did that, and then I fell over and slept until 11.
Yeah.
Made my way to the kitchen, ate our last can of soup, slept some more until David got home with more soup, hung out with him, slept some more.
Yeah.
So it was fun. But we're lucky enough to keep isolated. You know else who was pretty isolated?
Oh yeah, you know who else is, if you know can I make my brain do a segue? You know what, how it's easy to isolate a child? Disappear.
Yeah, just fucking disappear. Which coincidentally is what we're discussing with the movie we watched this week. Can officially announce Skinamarink. Which let's address the elephant in the room. So this movie went
Skinamarink once. Go ahead. Sorry.
This movie went viral on TikTok a few months ago, late 2022.
Yeah.
Oh god, we're in 2023 now. I got confused. Yeah. I forgot what year we were in for a second.
I thought it came out this year. I was confused because it said 2022 and I was like, whoa.
Okay. Yes and no. So okay. What happened was Skinamarink started premiering at film festivals in summer 2022. And some of these film festivals included festivals that offered at-home viewings. Mm-hmm. And at least one of the platforms had a glitch where people were able to download the movies at that festival.
Ooh, oops.
So because of that, they were able to upload Skinamarink onto a bunch of sketchy movie websites that we've occasionally used to watch a movie or two.
Yes, thank you for existing.
We appreciate you.
We've got a job to do.
So this movie went super viral because, and I understand why, it's very weird. It's very different. It's very eerie.
Yeah, super.
So it became one of those this is the scariest movie available online right now.
Yep.
And I think it helped that you could only access it through sketchy websites until Skinamarink was finally acquired for theatrical release in the United States and Canada by IFC Midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And it will release on streaming February 2nd, which is next week if I get this episode uploaded on time, or today if I don't get it uploaded on time.
Dude, so yeah, we'll hit it right on there. That's awesome.
I know. I was so worried that we were going to be late to the party because it did have its limited theatrical release while I had COVID.
Yeah, it's still playing in like random theaters. I keep, when I look it up, the show times will come up.
Yeah, this movie was made on a budget of $15,000. And because of the viral success and Shudder and IFC Midnight somehow fucking managing to get all the illegal streaming sites to remove, it has made $1.5 million at the box office.
Yeah, that's a great turnaround for such a very small budget.
I know. So
wow.
Like, I understand like how stressful it must have been for your movie to, within early stages of its life, to be available illegally already, but it was also probably the best thing that could have happened for this movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think so too.
Had that not happened, I don't think they would have gotten the big theatrical release that it has had, which it's not a huge theatrical release. It's not playing at my local Regal, but it's playing at the one that's like 40 miles up the road. So I consider that wide enough that at least one of my theaters has
nearby, the most nearby theater.
But I'm very happy for this movie because it is a fucking weird movie.
Yeah, it is very different.
And I don't think
weird.
in any other circumstance it would have made $1.5 million.
I completely agree.
I think that's fine to say. I'm sure
it's fine,
the director, writer, Kyle Edward Ball, I'm sure he wasn't expecting this to happen. I saw he closed his DMs on Twitter last week because he was just starting to get overwhelmed by all the messages he was getting.
Wow. Yeah, wow.
So I'm super happy for him. He probably still does. He has a YouTube channel where he would upload videos that recreated people's nightmares that they would comment on his videos.
Really?
And that's where the idea for Skinamarink comes from. It was originally a short film called Heck that he developed into Skinamarink.
Wow.
And it is a kind of a compilation of all the similar tropes he has seen in people's nightmares, like the isolation, not being able to escape, your parents are gone, and so that's what he did.
Well, his YouTube videos are probably very scary.
Probably.
Wow.
I should look up the short film and watch it, because while getting into our review, since this movie's not structured like a normal movie, we're not going to follow our normal structure of acting, plot, production. It all just kind of melts together in this.
Yeah, we can just talk about like beginning, middle, end.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Because watching this, the biggest complaint I had, and that David had, who was watching it kind of with me.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
It was when it was scary, it was done very well. However, there are very long gaps of nothing.
That is also my complaint. Too long. It's too long in general. 1 hour and 40 minutes.
I saw that.
Did you notice that?
I saw 140 and I was like,
I
don't know how I feel about that based on the screenshots I've seen.
Right, yeah, but then it was like, I really was expecting something to really be very eerie because of how the screenshots looked. But it was mostly like nothing. I mean, not nothing, but like
no, I agree.
Very dark.
I have a lot of positive things to say about this movie.
Also, okay.
And like my biggest complaint is the nothingness, and you know, some of the dialogue is hard to see, but dialogue is hard to see. The dialogue is hard.
It's hard to it's hard to hear, and also to sometimes that you can't see it because there's subtitles sometimes, but not other times. So I was like,
but that was a deliberate choice on the part of the director. So knowing that, I'm willing to forgive. Sometimes inaudible dialogue is he wanted. You know, sometimes you can understand it, but other times you can't. And that was all supposed to feed into this feeling that you are in a nightmare.
Yes.
And in that regard, I think Kyle achieved his goal of putting a nightmare on film.
Yeah.
But saying that, I don't, and David agreed with me, is when I'm having a nightmare, there aren't these long, quiet moments. It's usually bam, 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 bam.
Yeah. Yeah. This is just a dream that's scary sometimes.
Yeah.
But fine other times because it's mostly cartoons.
And I want to point out Skinamarink comes from the song Skidamarinky Dinky Doo is Skinamarink Dee.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. But he deliberately misspelled it so that kids wouldn't accidentally find it on YouTube or Google, which I think is very thoughtful.
Oh, it's spelled wrong.
Yeah, he deliberately spelled it different than how it's spelled in the song where the title comes from, so kids wouldn't accidentally find it. Which is very...
Like Skinamarink with an I?
It's Skiddy-marink.
Oh, like... Skiddy. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
Tell me your thoughts on the movie.
All right. Well, this is good because I'll go first because I mostly have negative things to say, but then we can balance it with your positives.
I was genuinely curious whether you would love or hate this movie because I saw Tim. He said he loved it.
I was really?
Like, I wonder if I'm gonna love it then.
Yeah,
you guys do have similar tastes in movies.
We do.
So but I do think he saw it in theaters, and I'm wondering if the experience in theaters is different.
Oh, I'm sure it is. But he actually he confided in me that he there was a moment when he like nodded off during the movie.
Oh,
and, like woke up during like one of the jump scares.
Maybe that's why he liked it.
Right. So much. But I watched it on my computer, so it was different. But and
I'm gonna say that is the appropriate way to watch this movie. I'm glad they got a theatrical release, but the vibes of this movie are very much a weird thing you found on 4chan in 2008.
Right. Yeah, I think so too. So I think that you should be watching it on your computer in the dark.
Ooh, yeah.
I watched it on my computer in the light, but in the night, but the light was on. So and I was like texting and stuff. So that wasn't helpful, but I was trying to pay attention, but I quickly caught on to like the rhythm of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pretty excited because I was like, okay, this is gonna be very creepy. But what's difficult, and this is a disclaimer for anyone who like can't see good or like can't hear well. So like people maybe with hearing aids that need to have the subtitles on, like it's not going to work out for you, because you won't hear half of what's being said. I had to crank my volume most of the time.
Yeah, so did I.
You know what
and
I mean?
I was worried about doing that because
Me too.
I think this movie is intentionally very quiet, but there's going to be a moment that I'm going to piss myself.
Three loud ones.
Yeah.
Then I was like, well, when's that going to happen? So I would turn it up when they were talking, and then I just like turn it back down in preparation for maybe a jump scare soon. But anyway, so the one thing, okay, a couple things, and then I'll let Sam go. It was a bit too long. I think the beginning was a little bit too short, because the beginning we do have a little bit of the like a exposition where we do have the parent there. The mom is kind of like absent. And we do get like the idea that the kid is sleepwalking and he hit his head. So at first I thought that the kid was actually in a coma nightmare or something, you know what I mean? Something like that. I kept like coming up with these weird theories because I didn't realize it was simply just him recreating a nightmare and that's it. I thought there was more to it. So I came up with like all these theories, and I'll tell you about them in a second. The camera angles, there were many, and they were interesting and they were creepy, but not much creepiness came out of them. You know, like into the dark corners and things like that, nothing really emerged. So the only scary parts we had were the jump scares. And the jump scares were merely loud sounds coupled with maybe a scary image if you find that personally frightening. And it depends. Like, do you find kids' cartoons creepy or not? So that really depends. For me, it wasn't, but for other people, I'm sure they thought that was creepy. But most of the movie's cartoons. Kids' toys, is that creepy? I'm sure this person thought that a lot of people think that kids' toys are creepy, but sometimes in this context, they're not really coming to life in the way that I thought they might, which would be terrifying. So nothing's happening there, except for like that little car thing that did a noise. And that was creepy. But other than that, it was just very vague. I understand at the end there was like the demon monster noise. I don't know why it made the toilet go away. I don't know how the daughter died. I thought they were two sons, honestly, because you don't see anyone's head. Not really. I thought it was two boys. But it was a boy and a girl. I don't know what happened to her. I don't know why this kid decided it was okay to put the knife in his eye. I don't know. I don't know how these kids were able to reach the light switches. They were 4, so very small. So just these kids, if their parents disappeared, I think very shortly after one day with their parents gone, they would be distraught the whole time. And so they just didn't seem to care. They were having fun playing with their toys and watching cartoons for like days. So there was no tension built because the kids weren't afraid. So those are all my comments, I think, summarized.
Yeah.
I did sit through the whole thing. The ending was interesting. I thought that it might be metaphor for a abusive parent, and the dad was actually the demon monster. You know, I don't know. So
I think there's a lot of theories you could pull from this movie because it is so vague and because it is intended to be a nightmare on the screen. You know, your nightmares and your dreams are kind of manifestations of what's happening in your life.
Yeah.
So maybe however you interpret the relations and the demon are your own like fears and things.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting way to read it. The most positive thing I have to say is that it's such a uniquely filmed and written movie. There's only 500 words of dialogue throughout the entire thing.
Oh wow.
And the director, film crew, they borrowed all of their equipment from the University of Alberta, I think.
Oh, I think I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So the fact that they made this for $15,000 and have made $1.5 million back on such a weird concept is so impressive, and that is something to be proud about. And I get why people either love this movie or hate this movie.
Yeah.
I was talking with David, not that I would ever partake in the use of drugs. I'm a lady.
A lady, yes.
I was talking with David about whether or not he thought the movie would be scarier had we been high.
Uh-huh.
And I think it would be. I think this might be a really good horror movie to watch stoned, because the long gaps of nothing that we're complaining about sober might build up some paranoia if you're under the influence. So
right. Do you think we fall asleep still?
That's my only hesitation saying that. Is I don't is like it would either help with the paranoia, so like when the big scares happen, it's super scary, or not.
Nice. Yeah. Well, you'll have to look on Reddit or something.
Yeah, I should investigate
if somewhat. Yeah,
on Reddit.
Definitely.
I thought the kid actors were good. I liked them a lot because they really were just kids. I agree with you that maybe they would start getting more distraught because I guess it is a nightmare. So when you're dreaming, you're not really thinking of food. But
oh yeah, or potty. Unless you have to wake up
I guess they did
potty.
use the potty, so you think there would be more we can't use the stove talk and stuff like that.
How did they know to use a bucket as a 4-year-old? Do you know that?
I think the sister is a little older than the brother.
Okay, maybe. Yeah.
But not by much. I would say the brother's like 4 and she's maybe 6.
Oh, okay.
But you're right. I would assume they would use like the bathtub or something first.
Or like they're having a little diaper. I don't know.
4-year-olds are not still in diapers.
No diapers? Okay.
We're not parents, but I know 4-year-olds are out of diapers usually.
Usually they'd go potty on the body.
Yeah. Where they found the bucket or knew where to find a bucket, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They had 2 buckets.
Yeah.
There's one for pee, one for poo-poo, I guess.
To answer your question about what happened to the sister, we did have that jump scare where we see her without eyes and a mouth.
Yeah, what happened before that?
She was asking for her parents and the demon didn't like that, so he punished her. And I guess she just disappeared after that.
Yeah, I know. After that, there was just one.
We had these moments like after she went to go find their mom and had that conversation with the mom.
Oh yeah, look under the bed, but there's nothing there.
Yeah, she went back to the living room knowing that something weird was in the house and asked the baby brother to help push the couch, which that was one of the most unrealistic things in this movie, is how light is that couch that a 6 and a 4-year-old could push it.
Oh dude, I could barely push my armchair.
Yeah.
Let alone my couch.
Maybe I'm just fucking weak as hell, but
dude, I can't do my couch by myself.
Yeah.
Those are heavy.
Yeah. But yes. I think the kids overall were very good, and I think
they did well. Yeah.
And I think it's because they were just being kids. They weren't being bogged down with a shit ton of like plot like
they don't know.
So they were just being kids and talking the way kids talked, and I appreciated that. They weren't being like, oh well, I think it's an evil monster. They were just existing. They were just doing what they knew best, which was to watch an endless amount of cartoons, which got old for me fast.
Yeah, I know, same.
Because I can't really figure out how the cartoons tie into the plot of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
If they're supposed to like somehow coincide with what's happening in their lives or if they're just nonsensical.
Yeah, that's a good point. It also seems like, well, in the beginning it says that like any cartoons that were used are like from the public domain, so they didn't have to credit it. So that's why they were showing them. But there's like creepy cartoons too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. The ones that they were showing did not creep me out that much. Maybe other people did, but they're like disturbing ones, you know, I feel like.
Well, you know, some horror critic who's better than us has probably already done all the research and is putting up their video essay as we speak to let us know it was this cartoon released in this time, and the cartoonist was actually a serial killer, and that's why
yep, there we go.
You know, something like that theoretically I should do, but I just want to talk about movies as a person would watch them and not a horror aficionado.
Yeah, not a huge
I thought the special effects that were used in the movie were very impressive for $15,000.
Yeah, would you say it's the what specific ones stood out to you? Because I'm trying to think back.
Towards the end, when we're looking at that hallway with the pile of toys, and it keeps stretching farther and farther away.
An endless hallway.
Yeah, the endless hallway I thought was super impressive. And the thing that everybody's talking about scaring the shit out of them, the phone and its face changing like that. I thought
like the little toy?
Yeah.
The toy thing, what is that? Is that like a little vacuum cleaner? Or
no,
like
it's a little phone.
David, a phone.
yeah, David said he had it. What you're supposed to pick up is after the little boy calls the police, the demon changes the real phone into that phone.
Oh shit, I thought that was just another toy.
No, that's apparently what happened. I had to read along with the Wikipedia plot as I watched.
Oh, I was about to do that too. I should have did that too.
Oh, wait. Right here, as I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, the cartoons seen on the television in Skinamarink are in the public domain, including Max Fleischer's 1936 Somewhere in Dreamland, Ube Erwick's Balloon Land, and the 1939 Merry Melodies Presto Changeo. So I do think they put some thought into the cartoons being shown.
Yeah, they had a purpose, but like whether or not it was scary or not, they had some type of a similar theme.
It was chosen.
We turned it into the toy phone, and he said, "Did you do that?"
And I like your theory that maybe it is a coma dream that they're having, that the little boy is having.
Do you think? I mean, it was just a quick thought because I was like, okay, sleepwalked. He hit his head. And then in his dream, he said he doesn't need stitches, but maybe he's like actually stuck in a coma.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know.
Ball has put a lot of thought into this movie for a first time feature, that even the public domain cartoons they got have the theme of being in dreams and magic happening. And the thought of, you know, sometimes when you're in a dream, you can't really hear things. People aren't talking clearly. Yes. So that scene at the beginning where the boy is sleepwalking and hits his head, that had to be intentional to set up that this is some sort of dream, some sort of nightmare. So I think you could draw that conclusion.
Okay. Yeah, like he just can't wake up. Something wrong. And that's when all the things change and stuff disappears, stuff goes on the ceiling and the walls. So what else do we have? What else? Any other points you want to make?
I'm trying to think. We touched on the production value when I first asked David to download this movie. He looked at the screenshots and he was like, "Is this the movie you want me to get?" And I was like, "Yeah, that is." And he's like,
"Yep,
these screenshots look like shit." And then when we finished, he said, "I regret downloading this in 1080p."
Dude, do you think that I feel like it was so like sharp that could see less of what was put in?
I mean,
man.
I don't have a lot else to say. I liked it for what it was. Do I have an impulse to go watch it again? No. But I get why some people find this movie so unsettling.
Yeah, I would be interested to see what Luke's thoughts on this are. Because when I was looking at reviews, it is completely split. Some people really love it and they were like very upset by it, and other people did not enjoy it because of certain like things that I said and other things as well. So yeah. What does that mean for the individuals watching?
Yeah, you know? So I think that's also really cool that this is so split and that it really is an individual experience for each person watching it. Like, so many movies don't accomplish that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there must be something that someone maybe in their past or in their childhood, they experienced something similar and it brought something back, you know, a little bit. And so they're like, oh shit, I did not want to see that again. And I tried to bury it and it's here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I think overall, Kyle Ball achieved his goal
I think
of putting a nightmare on the screen, and that is very impressive for a first-time filmmaker.
It is. Yes, absolutely. And I think I would think I would prefer his YouTube videos, and they because I love creepy YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
So that sounds like we'll have to look into that.
So for that reason, I will say, yeah, that fucked me up. If you're a horror fan, I do think you should watch this because it really is an individual experience. I liked it enough. Maybe I'm the only person that's actually middle of the road on it.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. No, I feel like there's like maybe one other middle of the roader I saw, but no, it's so split. It's so split.
Yeah. I mean, it has stuck with me these last couple of days. I have thought about it a lot, so
I think about it too.
Yeah. But if you are a horror fan, I do say you should absolutely watch this.
Yeah, give it one watch, because don't read, I mean, you could read the reviews, but like don't trust the reviews that are like 1 star or 5 star. Like, you need to give it a chance, but make sure that you are paying attention and see what you like. I watched it by myself, and then I went to bed. So I like stayed up to read a little bit because I was like, what if I like have a scary thought later about the scary toys? But that didn't. But I still had that thought, like, what if I have like a scary thought? And then Luke's away too.
Yeah.
So I watched it. I had like the perfect combination of like at-home elements. Watched on my computer at home by myself alone at night, then went to sleep by myself because my husband's not home.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to stay up and read my book for an hour and a half until I just fall asleep because I'm tired.
Maybe that's why I liked it, because when I would be home alone as a teenager. Full disclosure, I grew up upper middle class. So we had a really big house that you could very easily,
though.
Yeah, you could very easily, and no one believed me when I was a teenager saying this shit, but the second I'm stuck living there with my cousin and her husband, and we barely ever crossed paths.
Oh yeah.
They were like, oh yeah, sometimes we forget you're here. And I'm like, yeah, because someone could literally just hide in this house and you wouldn't know for a couple of days. So
dude, yeah.
Whenever I was home alone, I would turn on all the fucking lights in the house. So maybe the long creepy shots of just the empty house resonate with me, and maybe that's why I like it to an extent. That's
something. So you have something. And then also there's another thing I wanted to bring up, is that like the house was like in perpetual darkness, I feel like, before the windows went away. So I'm just like, is it day or night? I'm not sure. And the kids never left the lights on. They would just turn it on and then right back off. I'm like, what the heck are you doing, kid?
Yeah. They were a lot braver than I would be.
They were so brave, they didn't even get scared. They would like go upstairs when the demons had come upstairs. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The demon voice was quite creepy sounding.
It was. I liked that.
Their sound, they did well with their sound and everything like that. The mixing, everything was very intentional.
And I think the final shot of this movie was very creepy, where you could just see the silhouette of a person.
Because it could be anybody.
Yeah.
And that's what made me think it might be the dad. In my opinion, that's a theory that I thought of yesterday. Because he said just like go to sleep. I don't know. It's just like, and then sometimes when the dad spoke, there were subtitles, and then the demon spoke and there were subtitles. So I was making like, I was grasping at straws to make that connection, but maybe somebody else thought that too.
I do like,
because it was
that
a man.
theory. I do like that theory.
And the mom, I guess the other lady was like the mom. I don't know what's going on with the mother.
Yeah.
Like not around or something.
Because she seemed absent, but then suddenly the kids are saying, what's going on with mom?
But then they said, like, I don't want to talk about mom right now. And I was like, what is that supposed to mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. But it's definitely 100% up for interpretation. Like something's up with the family home life, because he called the mom and she wasn't at home. To tell her about the kid getting his head bumped or whatever. So something that already sets like the baseline for like they might be divorced or something, or separated.
Yes. Ooh, this is a interesting thing that I am reading on Wikipedia, but I did want to ask you. It just slipped my mind until now.
Okay.
So audience response, Skinamarink received polarized response from audience. This is a combination with its viral spread on social media following its festival leak, and it drew comparisons to the Blair Witch Project, another horror film that garnered word of mouth anticipation and split audience reactions. And do you think this could be, not our generation, we're fucking old, the 2020s equivalent of the Blair Witch Project?
The only thing that I thought in the beginning, there was that like in memory thing in the beginning of the movie where like someone died. And then I was like, is this part of the movie, or did someone actually die and this is like a legit in memory? Did you notice that?
I did. I should have looked that up.
Look it up and see, because I don't know if they were trying to like amp up the creepiness, like, oh, somebody died on set because this film is cursed, just like the Blair Witch Project, they died. And that's immediately what I thought. I was like, oh, like the Blair Witch Project, interesting. But I don't know. Would you say this is a found footage movie? Because the Blair Witch Project is. But is this one found footage, or is it just shot this way?
I wouldn't describe it as found footage, but I think just given how polarizing both films tend to be.
Okay.
I do think.
And like the hype too.
Yeah,
that
I
element.
do think this could be the 2020s equivalent of the Blair Witch Project. And who knows?
Oh, yeah, probably.
In like 30 years, we'll revisit this and be like, oh no, this was fucking brilliant. He did an amazing job, which I'm saying he did an amazing job already. Just like we do with the Blair Witch Project, where we have learned all these things about the production of the Blair Witch Project and what went into it, and how the movie's entirely improv and the actors only got like a vague list of things that were supposed to happen that day or what they wanted to achieve filming wise, and they weren't aware of all the ways the directors were planning to scare them. So I think I think in that aspect, this is going to be another like little cult classic in the horror community, where people either love or they hate it. And in 20, 30 years, we're going to be like, oh no, this was actually super fucking brilliant. And you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, you heard it here. We said it first. It's the next Blair Witch. Not because it's just like the Blair Witch, but because of other things. So
vibes.
The hype. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that that's really apt to say. And there hasn't been a movie like this that's just been like a word of mouth type thing that's like social media hyped up, and that's it. But it did hit theaters. It did make a splash, and it is really successful, and plenty of people already love it. There's, I mean, you know what I mean? So, and that's great.
Yeah.
So that means there's a space for it. And so, it happened, and it worked out, and it was successful. And the Blair Witch is now that we're looking back on it, is a classic. So we'll see what happens with this one. Will it be a classic, a cult classic?
Yeah, I'm excited to see the lifespan of this movie.
For real. Yeah. Because it's a very And it's a very interesting name, the movie, so we're not gonna like forget it. You know, it's not gonna like
anytime
get buried.
Someone even breathes Skinamarink, I start singing the fucking Skinamarink, Skinamarink.
Yeah.
But I think that's all I have to say on this movie.
Yeah, me too.
I'm glad we were able to put such a positive spin on a movie you didn't like and that I feel okay about.
Yeah, you're just okay. But no, we rated it highly. I'm not gonna like go out and do like a 1-star review and be like, don't watch this. Like you need to watch it and see what you think.
Yeah, I think even if you're a person who didn't like this movie, if you're telling people not to watch it, you're dumb.
That's shitty. Yeah.
Because I do think this is such an individual experience type of movie.
It is. It really is.
Because
there's certain movies, there's movies that Sam and I will watch and we'll legit like be real with you and say, don't do it, don't watch it. But this is different because you never know that like if you start to get freaked out from the beginning, then you know that it's gonna be good for you. Or maybe later. Yeah, you never know.
I look forward to seeing what Kyle Ball does next with his film career, if this was his first attempt at a feature film, because this was so ambitious and I can't wait to see his future endeavors. Yeah,
there's always going to be horror fans that are going to want something like this, and that this is what they've been waiting for.
Something that's new and different.
And fresh, yet it's going to bring up all those old past traumas that are really going to freak you out deeply. And so that's what people are waiting for, I think. You know. So yeah, excellent. I have nothing more to say as well. I think our average rating isn't all that fucked me up. So any final thoughts, Sam, or shall I read the outro?
I think I've said all I wanted to say.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think so too. But go check it out if it's going to hit theaters, or what's already hit theaters. So it's going to hit streaming though.
It will be on Shudder on February 2nd.
Will it be on anything else or just Shudder?
It is a Shudder exclusive.
Well, that means that you should take the time and maybe get a Shudder subscription. And maybe you can support them a little bit. Yeah, hashtag this is not an ad, but I know that they were struggling for some support lately, so yeah, maybe that'll be nice. Well, good for them. They'll have this really crazy movie on there. That's really cool. Okay, so pardon me, let me clear my throat. Okay, so Real Horror Show was created by Sam Odie and Stormy Skies and is directed by Sam Odie. Whew, I'm sorry, the Dayquil. We're not going to talk about what we learned because, well, I guess we can say we learned that everybody should see this once because seriously, it is an individual experience. You never know what might freak you out. Okay. Like what you hear, you can find Real Horror Show on Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play Store, Stitcher, iTunes, and Pandora. Really, really like what you hear? Follow us on Twitter at Horror Show Pod or search for Real Horror Show on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook at Real Horror Show. Like our page and share our stuff. We also have a website that all of our written reviews and podcasts can be found, realhorrorshow.com. I haven't yet updated the outro, but we're also on Instagram and TikTok, you guys. Definitely look up Real Horror Show that way and you'll find us. Our profile icon is the same on all platforms, so it's going to be hard to miss or confuse us with somebody else. Check us out. Want to interact with us? Want to make sure we're real humans and not space vampires? Comment on our website or email us at realhorrorshowpodcast@gmail.com. Want to argue with us about something? Or think you have a really great horror movie review that you're dying to share with two random strangers from the internet? Submissions are open for movie reviews. Check out the submit page on our website and follow the rubric before sending us anything. If it's not done according to the rubric, it will be disregarded. Sorry, not sorry. We love horror, and if you're listening, you do too. Please help us keep our project going by visiting our support page on our website, where you can make a one-time donation via PayPal. We also have an Amazon wish list if you feel like buying us something tangible will help convey your love more than a monetary donation would. Also, you can find the Buy Us a Coffee button on our website. It's a button you can click that will pay us the amount you would need to buy a coffee. A little bit goes a long way. Sometimes we can't help out artists monetarily, and that's okay. By simply liking, sharing, retweeting, and even giving us an awesome review will help us out tremendously. And is there any other pertinent news to share?
Not at the moment.
No.
Yeah.
But happy Valentine's Day. Me and Sam are gonna have to put our heads together for maybe a new Valentine's Day special. Ooh. We'll see. But in the meantime, keep watching the originals.
Oh shit, we watched all the 50 Shades of Grey movies.
That's what I'm saying. I was just thinking, like, oh, Valentine's Day, that means 50 Shades of Grey. We watched them all.
Oh no.
Oh shit. Okay, but anyway, we'll think about it. Anyway, our outro song is called Creepy Doll by Jonathan Colton. Thank you, fuck off, and have a swell evening. And this is Real Horror Show signing off.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And there's a creepy doll that always follows me.